Welcome back to another episode of Gym Girl Chats. Today we have a very special guest, and she is one of the coaches here at Physique Development. We have Coach Charlotte. If you do not know Coach Charlotte, we'll have her Instagram down below. I will also have the other podcasts that we've done with Charlotte so you can get to know her a little bit more. But without further ado, we're just going to dive right in. So, Charlotte, what type of music do you listen to while training?
I honestly feel like this is a bad one to start with because I am going to expose myself. I listen to quite literally anything and everything. Sometimes it will be Mumford & Sons. Sometimes it will be some sort of gross beats. Sometimes it will be some playlist that I put together when I was a freshman in college. Like, it truly just depends. I will also sometimes listen to podcasts while I train. But I really have to stop doing that because I feel like when I'm listening to podcasts, I get too into the podcast that I forget what I'm doing in the gym. And then I get distracted in my set and I don't bring the intensity that I need to bring because I'm too focused on the podcast.
See, for me, I feel like I then end up just zoning out the podcast. And then I'm just like, oh, what am I even like? What was I even listening to? Like the back, 10 seconds back is like one of my favorite buttons when I'm listening to anything because I'm just like, oh wait, I completely missed what I was just hearing.
Literally me when I'm walking the dogs sometimes and I will be so focused on what the dogs are doing and then I will realize that I will have missed multiple minutes of the podcast and I won't just walking along the street, just hitting the button over and over again. Somebody walking by probably thinks I look like a psychopath.
Oh my gosh. Alex and I have been trying to train together more recently just to like use each other for accountability and like push each other a little bit further in the training sessions. And I walked in and like the time that matches for our schedule, which just stinks, is like later in the evening. And I just don't love training later in the evening. But again, since I have the accountability and I know he's going to be in there, then we're like, okay, let's do it. And one day I was so tired and I was like, I do not want to come in here, but like, we're both in here. We're going to get it done. I walk in and he is listening to some podcast on like UFC fighters, like something I care nothing about. And he like continued to listen to it for like the whole entire session. And I'm sitting there like, lock in. So like lock in, like I was like, I just needed some music and to like be able to lock in. But I could tell he was like very into listening to this podcast. And I was like, I don't care at all what is being said there. And literally the other night I walk in and he's listening to like a sports podcast, which is fine. Like I was interested in it, but I also was like, I'm dying right now. Like I need energy. I'm not like just a podcast. And I had said something like, oh, I love when I'm really trying to lock in. It's just a podcast playing in the background. But I have no judgment on what people listen to because I'll listen to sad girl songs. I'll listen to, a song on loop. That's my MO.
Yeah.
Or I will listen, like Kate Klug, she'll listen to like show tunes while she's training. And I'm just like, you know what? If that floats your boat, then
to
we'll
each your own. We all get hyped up on our own music. I mean, sometimes we just need a song from Mulan.
Yeah, sometimes.
Gotta defeat the Huns.
Make a man out of me.
Exactly.
I feel like Mulan is a good hype though.
Oh, like that's true.
Hype. Like
I'm now imagining like Pocahontas, like paint with all the colors of the wind.
That should be the next one.
Absolutely. I mean, I 100% listen to that while I train at some point in time in my life.
Gosh. I really liked when we had that like team activity and it was like, what would be your walkout song or like your PR song? Because it was just such a wide array of like what people listen to. Because I feel like there's a lot of like headbangers on the team, but then like there's me who's not. And then there's also like a lot of us who listen to like hardcore rap and it really stretches a whole array and I enjoy it. I like that it's different.
And when we did that team activity, the best part was waiting the introduction of the song and the person being like, wait, no, it gets better. It gets better. Just hold on. And we were all like, what are we listening to?
We're like just sitting there in silence for 2 minutes. Yeah. We're like, it gets better. I think someone had put like a song that was like 8 minutes and they're like, keep going.
It gets better.
Oh my gosh. What would you say is one of your favorite meals right now that you're eating?
I've been on a kick with my Instant Pot salsa chicken, which sounds really funny because I actually went a period of time where I literally could not eat that. You know, when you eat something too much and you just like can't do it.
Hello. Yes, I eat the same meals for 3 years in a row.
But then I changed the salsa that I used with the salsa chicken and it was like a whole different
everything.
meal.
I know. Like, especially if you go from like a red salsa to like a green salsa, it's like
literally
get different game.
I went from a very, very basic salsa as like a corn and black bean salsa. And then it became kind of like a chili almost.
Yeah.
Like it was like pulled chicken chili kind of. And then you do it with some avocado, some rice, some vegetables, some, extra salsa, whatever. And it's nice because you can really like, if you need more avocado for like a more fat dense meal, you throw some more fat in there. You need some more carbs, you throw some more rice. Like it's very customizable. And I mean, you make like a vat of it and it lasts like a week. I mean, I don't know, maybe people are weird about their food, but if it's in the fridge for a week, I'll still eat it.
Yeah. And just even if you don't vacuum seal and freeze it, just something being vacuum sealed lasts like a whole week so fresh in the fridge, like no issues. So if you have a vacuum sealer, that's like game changing.
I need one.
But truly, crock pot chicken or Instapot chicken, whatever you want to call it, like with salsa, is one of the easiest things to meal prep, because chicken, I will like concede, is one of the harder things to cook, especially if you're not used to cooking anything and you get like this rubbery or this like boiled consistency,
or like woody,
or it's just like gross. But I feel like the salsa chicken, like you really can't mess it up.
Well, yeah, and I mean you get other stuff like with the black bean and corn, like you get corn, you get black beans, like there's
and
more
you
to
don't have to like cut anything. Like you literally just put the chicken breast in there and walk away.
And I use frozen, so I'm not dealing with like raw chicken stuff.
Yeah, which I know you and I are like very pro frozen food. Like when people are like, I have to get everything fresh, I'm like, no. I'm like,
you are literally making your life cost more and more difficult for it. Why?
Frozen food is so great. Whether you make it and then freeze it, or just like buying from the freezer section, it is incredible. And I always have stuff in my freezer, whether it's something like chicken nuggets and fries, or like having vegetables. I almost only get frozen. Yeah. There'll be very few times, and it has to be like we're on a kick of a certain meal. Like right now, Alex is on like turkey sandwiches. And so like we have a few vegetables in the fridge, and we're also doing burgers, and it's the same vegetables that we use tomatoes on both. Like we use onions on both. And so it's like, okay, we're getting these few vegetables so that they do not go bad and we do not waste our money on this. But everything else is frozen, and it's like so convenient that way, because you never have to be like, oh, is this still fresh, or did I get enough? It's just like there's always a bag in the freezer.
Exactly. And when we moved into our house in 2023, the first thing that I bought for my basement was a chest freezer. And I say bought, I got it for free on Craigslist. I literally showed up to the guy's house and he was like, do you just want it? And I was like, well, yes. I'm not going to say no.
Like, is there a body inside?
Right? Literally. He was like, well, I mean, it shut off at one point in its life, but then it's never shut off again. And I was like, well, it's never shut off in my house.
It's free. I mean, even if it does.
Exactly. And I'm a Costco stan. Those are people who've been following me for a while. They know that I'm a huge Costco fan. So you need space for your bulk items. So you need a basement freezer or like a secondary freezer or whatever. So mine is free.
That was something that we did a few years ago. It's like we ended up with a fridge freezer, but like if I were to change things, I would get a chest freezer. But I was like, we need more freezer space because I always have stuff in the freezer. Like my freezer is stocked. Like my fridge might be empty, but my freezer is stocked. My freezer's ready to go.
I will be set for a week's worth of meals. I'm like, I don't need to go to the grocery store. I got food for a week.
Which we will tag down below, because Charlotte has a post on some of her like favorite items from Costco. And I think that you also have one on just some of your favorite frozen items. So we'll have those linked down below if you're like, oh, I've been hating on freezer food for no good reason. We'll help you out. Yes. So what would you say one of your favorite snacks or go-to snacks is right now?
I have been like housing cheese sticks. Like it's my job.
Like the peel cheese sticks?
Like literally like basic cheese sticks, like the light string cheese from Aldi.
Cheese,
okay, string cheese. Okay, that's probably a better way to put that. I'm sorry.
Cheese sticks just made me think of like mozzarella.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, no, it was like the string cheese from Aldi. Like they have like it depends, sometimes you get the light, sometimes you get the non-light, just depends on the day. But I mean, it's an easy, 12 grams of protein. Throw it on
easy.
Two cheese sticks, you throw it on the side of like a snack or a meal or whatever. And like you're easily hitting 30 grams of protein. Like I will tell clients this all the time. Like if you need like, sometimes you don't need a lot to get you over the edge. So an extra 10, 15 grams throughout the day, like will really help you cover that gap. And I mean, practice what you preach.
Yeah. Well, I also think, and I love that you're also this way, is just in regards to the foods that you eat. We don't have to be like, oh, I have 30 grams of just chicken protein in this meal. It's like, okay, for me, for breakfast, I can't stomach a bunch of eggs, or I get the egg ick so quickly, but I can have like an egg with 1 or 2 egg whites consistently and be fine. But if I end up going to like 5 or 6 egg whites, I'm like, ugh, I can't do it. And so I will have the eggs. Then I'll also have center cut bacon. So another way I can get protein in. Then I'll have some yogurt. So it's like different sources of protein. And that's something I also do with Nugo bars, is that they're only 12 grams of protein. And instead of being like, ugh, as a snack, this doesn't hit 20 grams of protein, I'll have a meal that maybe I have a sandwich or something and it's a little bit less. And then I'll just be like, this is my like quote unquote dessert. I'm not saying you can't have normal dessert, but just like it's a little chocolate fix for me type of thing. And then it's like, okay, I'm good to go. Like now I've hit my protein and being able to get that. So So that's perfect if someone ends up with a meal or they like go to an event or something like that. And it's like, I just got these cheese sticks ready to go and make sure that I hit my protein and I'm like in a good spot.
I will literally throw them in my fanny pack and like take them on the road with me. Like, I mean, you got to be careful about refrigeration after a while, but I don't know. Again, spend an hour. I'll still eat it. I'll still eat it. It's fine.
Yeah. I think it really crosses the line when it starts to hit like 2 hours.
Yeah.
1 hour
that's
is
pushing
fine.
it.
1 hour for anything is fine.
Yeah.
Past that, we got to check.
Yeah.
But
like if I brought it here and like ate a cheese stick after I recorded this podcast, like you could be concerned about me, I think.
Yeah. With the drive and if it was sitting in like a hot pocket.
Yeah. It was sitting in my car this whole time. It's fine.
And now it's like, it is a mozzarella.
Literally, I have like melted cheese all over my car seat. Okay, it's fine. Moving on.
Oh my gosh. Well, going to gym stuff, what would you say is a favorite exercise of yours right now?
This is so hard because I really feel like it depends on the week and where I am right now.
Fair.
And where I am energy-wise. I will say I did back foot elevated split squats today for the first time in quite some time. I've done, unilateral squat variations over the last couple of weeks, but I haven't done like an actual bilateral loaded back foot elevated split squat in so long. And I really enjoyed it today. I hated it, but I loved it at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, that was actually going to be my next question is what's an exercise that you hate to do, but you do it anyway, or like you hate to love it type of thing?
Hip thrust. Absolutely.
Hip thrust.
See, like hip thrusts, I can't like, there's no like enjoyment in that for me.
None. Absolutely. Like if no one was telling me to do it, you can't catch me doing a hip thrust.
No. Like, I've tried so many different setups in my basement gym too, where like I've tried to start the bar, like loaded a little bit off the ground. And I've tried to use like different plates and I've tried to use like different benches. And every single time it's just so unpleasant. Like, yeah, the pump is totally worth it. Like totally great, not mad. But I really don't want to spend 10 minutes loading the bar, warming up, unloading the bar. Like I'd much rather do glute max press bags or something like that.
Yeah. I know. Well, that's the one thing. And I know you're very pro Smith machine as I am, but like having the Smith machine does make it a lot easier because I'm not having to like undo the bar, then like try and shimmy the things on like it's set up and I can just like throw the weight on a lot easier. But it is something that in the future I would probably get something, what are they? They're called like the hip thrust bench or whatever, like whatever those are.
I don't even know.
Get that and like just have a bar set up just for that. Right. Be like an extra bar just for that. So I don't have to move it. I don't have to set it up. But I think that also speaks a lot to oftentimes it's like, okay, I don't want to do that. And you don't do it if you're doing your own programming. And then you're kind of like, why am I not seeing the growth I want to? And it's like, because you're actually taking it easy on yourself. Like you're not doing the things that you should be doing because you don't want to do it, which is fair. I don't want to do it either. But sometimes you kind of like, when I open my training and it's in there, I'm like, ugh. But then I'm like, I needed this. Yeah. Okay.
I know. I really had to. It's so funny you talk about that because people who've been following me know that I went through a building phase this last spring. And it was something where at the end of the building phase, I was like, I haven't done hip thrusts one time in this 6 months. I should probably add them in for my last phase of this program. So I did. I forced myself to do the hard thing. And it was worth it. It absolutely was worth it. But I didn't enjoy it. Yes. I didn't have fun.
Well, sometimes you have to do things that you don't like to get what you do want and what you do like. And I think that sometimes it's like, well, I want this thing or I like this thing. I shouldn't be doing things I don't like on the way to it. But it's like what I've learned, whether it's from being in the gym, like being a business owner, being a coach, is like sometimes you have to do stuff you don't want to do, but it's for the betterment of like what you actually want overall instead of just looking like small scale.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, we've talked about this in other podcast episodes, but you get reps doing these things. And I mean, it carries over into other avenues of your life. You practice. I mean, we all do things we don't want to do on a regular basis. We don't want to walk our dog in the morning. We don't want to figure out what we're eating for dinner at night.
We don't want to pay taxes.
We don't want to pay taxes. But we do them anyway because we have to, and we get better for it. Maybe not for paying taxes, though.
Yeah. Who cares? We're all just trying to rip off the government. No.
Right?
That's what this podcast is really about. They're done listening. No. But speaking of your build, I was going to ask of how your most recent build went and then what your goals look like moving forward.
Yeah. So my build phase was so fun. It was really... I've gone through many seasons of my journey where I've been focused on growth. Probably the majority of my training journey has been focused on growth in some way, shape, or form. But this was the first time I really set a specific timeline of I'm going to spend this amount of time. I am going to look to see this amount of growth on the scale every single week. And I am going to be like really strict about that. Like if I'm not seeing the weight moving in the way that I want to, like something is going to have to change. And it was really cool for me to have that experience, to really be comfortable with seeing that growth every single week and really being able to neutralize my relationship with the scale more than I ever have, neutralize my relationship with food more than I ever have. And I remember even filming this like a podcast a couple years ago talking about how I was, the heaviest body weight I had ever been. And now I'm above that body weight, feeling better than I ever have, feeling more confident than I ever have, not even necessarily like within my physique, but just like within my own ability to execute and do things. It really, I mean, sure, like I feel great physically and all that, like that's true. But knowing that I like set that goal, executed, and really walked away from it feeling really proud of myself for everything that I put into that, like that is really like where I got so much out of it. And I'm going back into build mode in a couple of weeks actually, which I'm really excited for. Starting September 1st, we'll be going back into build mode again. And we kind of were chilling at maintenance over the last couple of weeks. It's been really nice to kind of have a little bit less pressure on myself. Like I don't have to be as diligent about, I haven't eaten in 3 hours. Like I need to eat again. I've been letting myself kind of just play in the gym a little bit and kind of just do whatever. And I think that's important. I really think that everybody who trains, like, yes, I'm a huge advocate for following a training program, as anybody knows who knows anything about me. But I also believe that you should go into the gym sometimes and just move your body and just play and remember why you enjoy moving in the first place. Because sometimes getting in a program groove, you get kind of disconnected to why you originally loved strength training. At least I know I do sometimes. So being able to get back to like, this is why I love to train. Like this is like just being able to move my body in a way that feels good. And I mean, obviously training feels that way, but sometimes you're going through a really hard, really grueling training phase and it's just like brutal and it's just hard. And you're just like getting to the end of your sessions feeling like your entire nervous system like was just debilitated. And that like can be a lot sometimes. So just being able to go into a training session like today, I did RDLs, I did split squats, I did some lateral raises, I did rear delt rows, and I did 45-degree hip extensions. So not a lot. Like it wasn't the longest training session ever, but I was successful, I was productive, I went and I moved, but it also wasn't, the most structured training session that like destroyed me, if that makes sense. And I think that there has to be room for both of those things within a training journey. And if sometimes people are like, well, I don't even know what to do if like I don't have a program. And I get that. Like I totally get that. But like, how does it feel good to move your body? Like, what do you like to do? What muscle groups do you like to feel engaged? And again, you don't want that to be all of your programming because then you'll never make progress. But every now and then, I think, especially if you're feeling burnt out from training, if you're feeling really burnt out from training and really disconnected from your programming, giving yourself permission to step back, even for a few days. It doesn't have to be a long period of time.
It literally can just be a few days or a week.
Or one session. Yeah. One training session of not following the program and just going and getting some movement in can really go a long way. And kind of related to this, but not like at one point during my build phase, I was so burnt out and I was honestly ready to call it. I was like, I am not having fun. Like this is really fatiguing. And then I actually got sick. And I ended up having to take like a week off. I like really wasn't able to get food down because I had food poisoning. Like I'm not going to force myself to eat. Food poisoning.
Makes
like
no sense.
Yeah. Like I got what I got down and like that was it. But honestly, like that really helped me propel myself through the end of my building phase because it gave me a little bit of a break. You know what I mean? Like I was able to relax, give myself some time to chill. And then when I got back into it, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, I'm so energized. I'm so ready. So again, not the exact same thing, but like sometimes you really do just need a break.
Yeah, no, I 100% relate to that. And especially I think that people talk about it, but people don't always understand how building muscle is so difficult. Building muscle is a lot on your body, on your physique. It can be a lot mentally. And it's something like truly maintaining muscle on your physique, I know you relate to this as I do, is difficult. That's something, a conversation Alex and I have had a lot, is just that like it takes a lot of work to have muscle on your physique and keep that muscle because like there's the aspect of gaining it, then there's the aspect of maintaining it. But especially with your build, I know you relate to this, of it takes more food than you think. And sometimes, and I know not everyone's in this place because you maybe haven't ever pushed yourself to this, but like eating can be exhausting. It can be tedious and be like, oh my gosh, like I'm someone who loves food. Like I'm not coming from this of being like, oh, I'm like indifferent about food. Like food is just fuel. Like I have always been a food girl. Like I even before I got into my fitness journey thought I could never have a fitness journey because I was like, I love food too much. But when you are pushing for that, like eating can be very annoying and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm just eating the same meals, or I am like another day just feels like Groundhog Day to a certain extent where you're like eating another meal. Oh, I'm not that hungry, but like I need to eat right now. And truthfully, just taking a little bit of a break. And for me, sometimes that's like just going out to eat a little bit more to give myself a little bit of a mental break from like eating the foods. And then I'm like back to loving my foods and I'm good.
And then I want them again.
Yeah. And I want them. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I'm ready for this.
Exactly.
It's kind of like when you take a vacation, you're like, this was a fun vacation, but I can't wait to get home. I can't wait to get into routine. I can't wait to do X, Y, and Z. And so if you're feeling that burnout feeling, a lot of times people are just trying to like push past it of like, I should need to keep going. And you might need to just like keep on a routine depending on where you are in your journey. I can't say just on a generalization, but you also might just need to take a little bit of a break. And even that could be of like taking a break and doing a completely different type of movement. So maybe it's not going to the gym and just playing around. Maybe it's going to yoga or going to a fitness class where like I have been to a few like Legree or Pilates classes or yoga classes. And it's like, I might do that every once in a while. I might not like identify fully as like a Pilates girl, but like, oh, this sounds fun for right now. That's going to give me a little bit of a refresh to then be excited about what I want to do.
Exactly. And it's so funny you talk about that. I took my first cycling class last
really?
weekend.
How was
for the first
it?
time. Oh, I've taken cycling classes before, but not in so long. Like I visited a friend in Washington, D.C. years ago and she had me take a soul cycle class with her. That was the last time I'd ever done any sort of like spin class. But a friend was like, oh, you should come with me. And I was like, well, I'll try anything once. But it was honestly so fun. And it honestly got me like really excited to even train this week because I had moved my body in a different way and it just felt really good. Like I'm a big believer in like energy begets energy. Like if you're active, like it helps create more of a drive to be active.
100%.
So being able to start my week with like moving my body in a different way, sweating, like getting those endorphins going, like it was such a positive start to my week. And I was honestly like apprehensive going into it. I was like, I'm going to get my ass kicked. And my ass was very sore the next day from sitting on the bike seat.
Yes,
but it was so fun. And I work out from home. I know you do. So it's sometimes just nice to like
get out,
be around other people for a while. Sometimes you don't want to be around people.
Sometimes, but most of the time, you want to be on your own.
But sometimes it's nice to be in an environment of other people who want to
go
work
out
hard.
in public.
Yes.
It's good for you.
It is good for you. I know. I need to do more of that.
I know. Sometimes Alex is just like, I need to leave the house right now. I don't care if it's like just going to the grocery store or something. He's like, I just need to leave the house.
I'm going to go get myself a little coffee treat.
Yes, exactly. But cycle classes are not my thing. Like I did when we lived in Louisville, I did for a while. I went to a cycle bar because one of my friends went and we would like go together.
That's what I did.
Yeah. But I'm much more, I found like I do really enjoy doing yoga and it's like very refreshing for me to be able to do that. Pilates and Legree, I'm open. I just like, it's also really hard, which is good. Like it's good to challenge yourself in a different way. Cause that's something for me is like, I'm a fit person. Like someone would describe me as being fit. I would describe myself as being fit. But sometimes it's nice to be humbled.
Oh, absolutely.
To be like, oh, you're not fit in this way. Like this is a new like avenue for you to go. So like with cycle, it's like, oh yeah, like I have good endurance. Like I can walk like a 10-minute mile. Like I'm in a good spot. And then it's like you do a cycle class and you're like.
My friend who invited me, she was like, if your cardio's good, you'll be fine. I'm like, I just finished a 6-month bulking phase where I did very little cardio. So how do we think this is going to go?
Fine.
But it was fine. It was really, honestly, really fun. It was really fun. And I like could see myself going again. So we'll see. TBD.
I could see myself possibly going out in public.
Yeah, right.
Once possibly.
I know. And that also reminds me of when we took a yoga class together a couple of years ago and we walked in and I was like, Sue, I'm so anxious. I can't calm myself down.
It was like supposed to be like a soothing recovery one. And you're like, I can't.
I was like, I can't do this. And it's honestly so funny because again, back to the building phase, there was a period in time during the building phase where I was like really struggling with my recovery. And I was like, what is going on? Like I was freaking out. My grandpa died of heart disease. So I'm like a paranoid that suddenly I'm going to like get some sort of like cardio, like cardiac issue. Obviously like very unlikely. Yeah, right? I know, like super, super high odds of that happening. But anyways, my resting heart rate starts to do weird things and I'm like, I'm dying. So I'm like calling my mom, like, did I like, what were Poppy's like heart attack symptoms? And I need to talk to a cardiologist. My mom's like, Charlotte, we have a cardiologist in the, like, I'm friends with the cardiologist. Like you could talk to him. So I called him up and he's like, have you done yoga recently? Have you like done any meditation recently? And I was like,
breathed?
no, literally. He was like,
taking a second to breathe.
actually, I'm talking a billion miles a minute. And he's like, Charlotte, like, I think you just need to relax. And he was like, go do a yoga video or something and then call me back. So I went, sat on my office floor, did 15-minute yoga class, yoga video, whatever. I looked down at my watch and my heart rate is lower than it's been in 2 weeks. And I'm like, all right, fine. Fine. You all were right.
Fine. I don't have heart disease.
I was just stressed. It is just stress. When people say it is just stress, they're probably right, even if you don't want them to be.
Oh my gosh. There's this song and one of the lyrics is like, trying to tell my friend that stress kills, but she can't hear me. She's too stressed out. And every time I hear that line, I'm like, so real.
Yeah.
It's literally like you're trying to be like, hey, stress is like this huge thing. And everyone's like, can't be. It's too much is going on.
It's heart disease. It's heart disease.
Too much is going on.
yeah.
You don't understand. And
Literally.
it's like, no, but like it's stress. And like it could literally kill you.
I know.
Crazy.
So we did yoga and my resting heart rate got back to normal and everything's great now.
Bless.
We learned how to chill out.
It's funny because sometimes people are like, oh, to like relax, like you should read. And I'm like, you should see my heart rate when I'm reading. We were on a plane and I looked down, I get an alert and my things
God.
like, it was my heart rate is at like 120 while I was reading. And normally it's sitting at like 50 or like whatever, like my resting heart rate. And it literally had like alerted me and was like, do you want to like log a workout? And I'm like, no, I'm just reading. Like, I think I'm chill.
It's like, you know, when they say like you're like a passive versus active like participant in something and you're like a very active reader.
Oh, yes.
You're like, I'm actively engaged in
here.
this.
I'm doing
nothing passive about me.
Literally, I'll be reading and like Alex will be sitting next to me and I'll be like, or I'll be like, oh my gosh, I knew it. And he's like, what is happening to you? And I'm like, it's like I'm watching a TV show.
So true. I have such vivid memories of sitting. It was actually this last Christmas. I was sitting on Zach's mom's couch reading and I was sobbing my eyes out reading this book. And Zach walks into the room and I look up at him and he's just like, are you okay? And I'm like, this book is just destroying me.
Like, but this is what I'm doing for stress, really.
Literally. It's fine. We all have our own vices.
God. I know. I just read a book recently and a few of my friends were like reading it after me and I was like getting their reactions from it because that's one of my favorite things. If I like read a book and love it, for one of my friends to read it and then like send me their reactions as it happens. And like two of them like were crying at the end. It was like a very sad book. Yeah. And one of them said that they live in the UK. And so they're texting me and they're like, it's 1 a.m. where I am. I just woke up my partner because I'm sobbing and they're so concerned. And the other one lives in Columbus actually. And she was like, my husband walks in the room and I'm like hyperventilating and he's like, are you okay? And she's like, my dog came over to like check on me.
It's the worst.
And I was like, you know,
it's the best, but it's the worst. You're like, I don't mean to distress the dogs, but also thanks, I need it.
Thanks, I needed this.
I need the face licks to make myself feel better.
Lick the tears away.
Literally, that was me. I had a mental breakdown over Pablo being 8 on Tuesday, and he was just sitting next to me, just licking my tears. I'm like, this is so wrong, but it's fine. It happens.
It's fine. It's fine.
It
We don't talk about that thing.
We listen and we don't judge.
Low reps is best.
High reps is best.
Fruit is so
it's
good.
It's terrible for you.
You should lift heavy.
High reps,
Carbs
low
are
weight.
needed.
Keto
Squats
for
are
life.
bad for your
Squats
knees.
are great
You
for your
should
knees.
squat
Knees over
astragraphs.
toes.
It's fine. It fits my macros.
Is for idiots.
When there are so many mixed messages going around, it's hard to know what you should even do or focus on. But that's exactly where Physique Development one-on-one coaching comes in. You might have heard of online coaching or even hired a coach before, but we believe in teaching you the why behind what we do while truly taking your life into consideration. We want to train, educate, and empower you to reach your goals and help you to stop spinning your wheels and just finally feel good. And hey, we're here to help you look good too. You need you. Your health is your wealth. So join Physique Development and let us be the last coach you ever need. Do you have a gym girl hot take?
Oh, man. I feel like I needed more time to prepare for this. I mean, I guess I'll try out this, like, I don't know if this is a hot take, but this is like
maybe a lukewarm take.
Yeah, I mean, this is more of like a working theory that I have about like people who enjoy being active in general. Like, we're all sickos. Like, we're all like
masochists.
Yeah, like we're all literally insane in our own way. Like, lifting weights doesn't get any easier for us as humans. We get stronger, we get more capable. So then the weight just gets heavier and it just gets harder to lift.
Mm-hmm.
Like it never gets any easier for us. And we're just like, yeah, let's keep going. Like that's like kind of psychotic. I was talking to my sister about this. She's like, yeah, rock climbing is kind of the same way, except you like can fall off of a higher cliff. And I'm like, all right, well, maybe it's a little different than
I
that.
can't fall to my death. I can
Yeah,
maybe
no.
drop a weight on myself.
I know, I might like slip a disc doing a deadlift or something, but I don't think I'm going to tumble off a rock face. I don't know if that's a hot take. It's more of like an observation that I've had over the years about myself. I'm like, why do I even enjoy this? Like a lightweight split squat is still 80 pounds. It's like, this isn't fun.
Yeah. But I think it's also like the aspect of, at least for myself, it's like being able to show how capable you are, being able to prove to yourself what that looks like. And there really is just something I know if someone hasn't been in the gym, when they hear me say this, they might be like, I've never felt that way in the gym. And maybe you need to find a way that it works for you. Like it's different for each person. But like for me, truly like getting in there, challenging myself and like being able to show like I can accomplish things is like such a rewarding feeling, regardless of obviously like I want the physique changes. That's like a cherry on top. But it's like the aspect of like I'm challenging myself, I'm pushing myself, and I feel very accomplished at the end of this. And within just being in the gym, it's really just taught me that like failure is good. Like that's something where as a human being and as a perfectionist, like failure used to be the scariest thing in the whole entire world. It's like failing, and especially failing in front of people is so embarrassing. And, you know, it's only embarrassing if you get embarrassed is what I've learned. So like, just don't get embarrassed. Like,
my family motto is it's only awkward if you make it awkward.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not the same thing.
It
It is
is.
kind of the same thing. Like it only sucks if you tell yourself it sucks. Like I bottomed out on a leg press the other day that I really wasn't expecting to bottom out on. And I was like, I could have gotten upset about it, but I was like, well, I just really pushed myself and that's it. And
But
that's
it's just
cool.
like learning that like failure is just like learning about yourself. And it's being able to see like, okay, I couldn't do that. Wait, can I do it next time? Or like, oh, this is really good to push myself past the limit to find out where the limit is. Now I know how to gauge things. And that in the gym, and especially like failing in front of people, and failure when you talk about training being a positive thing that we talk about of like, we want to train to failure. Then it showed me in like the real world of, oh, it's okay to fail. Like it's just getting me one step closer to where I need to go. It's teaching me a lesson. It's showing me where a line is. And I'm able to like be in a much better headspace about that. So while I do agree that we are like masochists, at the same time, it's like, it's also for the betterment. And I would say anyone wanting to be successful to a certain degree, people could call them masochists of like, why are you trying to achieve these things? And it's like, also, why not? Like, why am I not shooting these big goals for myself and like working towards these things? Because it's just really exciting to have goals and to work towards those goals. And every time I fail just gets me closer. That's something Alex and I talk about a lot is like, if you knew it took 20 more times of you failing to get success, how much quicker would you want to fail?
Yeah.
Would you be like, let me keep failing because I'm almost at the success.
So true. And like, honestly, like that kind of like, it bleeds into the same idea as like trial and error. Like it's something where I celebrated my 5-year anniversary with PD this week, and I've been really reflecting about like things that I did differently when I first started and like how I've grown. And I remember like when I first started coaching, things like, you know, when a client comes on board, like you can go a lot of different directions with them oftentimes. It's not necessarily like somebody comes on board and it's like, yep, 100% like this direction. Sometimes it is, but sometimes there's, you know, a couple different directions in which you could go with people. And I remember when I first started coaching, it was like, that was debilitating to me. Like it would paralyze me. But now I understand like it can be a trial and error process. And that can actually be incredibly informative as far as like, if we figure out this one thing doesn't work, you're one step closer to finding the thing that does. And you've learned something along the way. So even if it doesn't work, and even if you quote unquote failed, you still have learned a massive lesson, and you've still like made progress in some way, shape, or form. Like I doubt it was, I mean, maybe it was a full-blown failure, but again, you've still learned something there. So again, it's not the exact same concept, but I mean, it's these points of reflection of like, okay, because I had this, because I was able to try this, because I was able to continue to pursue this, I was able to learn A, what I was capable of, but B, like, you know, what doesn't work, and then have a much better idea of what does work. So it's
the only way to like truly fail is to not try.
Absolutely.
And so that's something where I always think about like when people say like, oh, you're lucky, or you like, you're so lucky this happened to you. And I'm like, don't call me lucky. I've tried more times than you failed. Like I have literally, or I've failed more times than you've tried. Sorry, said that backwards. But I've literally fallen on my face to be able to have this quote unquote luck that you talk about. Like you're so afraid to make a mistake or put yourself out there or to fail in front of someone that you haven't tried. So like, yeah, to you on the outside, looking at me, it looks like, oh, you're so lucky all these things have happened. And it's like, no, I literally failed my way up. Like I failed my way to this luck that you see because I put myself out there. And so it's like, just keep trying, keep failing, keep going after it because you're going to learn something, even if it's the wrong thing.
Yeah. And it's so funny. Like me being in like this seat looking at you as you say this is so funny because now I've been here for 5 years and I've seen so many iterations of PD and like everything that we've been through. And like I've seen it all come to fruition. And it's so cool to now see you like having done all of those things and having learned so many lessons. And like even being able to have that example for me is something that I really appreciate because there's so many people in my life, or not even necessarily in my life, but like just in the world who you see and you're like, you're not pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. You're not giving yourself the opportunity to do something new. And maybe it won't work out, but maybe it does. And I think I'm a huge believer in the idea of like, okay, like, yes, you know, you might think of, okay, well, what's the worst case scenario here? You owe it to yourself to also think about what's the best case scenario that could happen from X, Y, or Z thing. So, you know, let's say in the context of like, going through a building phase, for example, people often go to the worst case scenario of like, what if I gain all this body fat? And like, what if I feel so terrible? And like, what if this? And it's like, okay, sure. What if you also get jacked and you feel amazing and like your entire life gets better?
Yeah.
Like, what if?
But also, I love thinking of worst case scenario, which is always very surprising to people because they're like, oh, you're such a positive person, X, Y, and Z. I'm like, I guess I would say I'm a positive person, but it's because I'm able to look at things of like you saying worst case scenario is like gaining weight. Okay, if that's the worst case scenario, I can lose weight.
Yeah.
Cool. So now I'm not scared of that worst case scenario where I was talking to someone on a call and they were like, well, what if this happens? What if this? I said, what if it does? What if that thing happens? And they're like, well, then what if someone makes fun of me? And I said, is that worst case scenario? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, okay, then you know worst case scenario. Are you okay? I was like, is that the end of the world? Well, no, it's not. Okay. So it doesn't matter anymore. Like that's the thing.
Such
of
a good thought
sometimes
exercise.
like I always go to worst case scenario, not in a super like pessimistic way, but it's somewhat of a realistic way. But then it's also of a affirming way of just like, oh, the thing that I was building up in my head really wasn't that bad.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah.
it's like, cool, I can do this. And if I fail, I know what worst case scenario is. And it's not that big of a deal. So then I can think about what's best case scenario. What happens if I do fly? What happens if this really does like work for me? And it's also, and we've talked about this, but like getting reps in truly to be able to figure out what that is. Because oftentimes somebody might try something, they fail once, and they're like, I never want to do that again. And it's like, it helps with like exposure therapy. Like we talked about even with you, like stepping on the scale and being like, I was able to step on the scale during this build phase and be so neutral about it. Of like a lot of times when something doesn't work out for me, I can just be like, okay, I need to try it a few more times. I need to do it a few more times to reiterate this process and see how that can work and how that can make it. And with you saying of like, you've seen the different iterations of me, I actually was working on a post this morning of like from a month ago, I have a video where I'm like hysterically crying because of different things that had gone on. And I literally was like, is one of those moments where I felt like things were moving forward and then everything hit. And I thought like, I don't know the way out of this. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to solve this. I don't know the answer to this. I've never done this before. And I just like took one step at a time. I was like, I need to just take these. And then today it was something where I was like, I see the light at the end of the tunnel. And it was just crazy because I was like, what a difference a month can make, where I literally had a full-on mental breakdown last month. But now I'm like, it's all going to be okay. Like, it's good. So like, it's okay if you break down a little bit, if you have a moment where you're like, how do I get through this? But then it's like, you just take one step and it's like, again, like I said, I don't know how to do this. I just took the thing that seemed like the next best decision and then the next best decision from there. And maybe it wasn't all the right decision, but it was making a decision. Because that's something we've talked about too with like that anxiousness is that if you don't make a decision or just do something, you're going to get stuck in such a spiral of that anxiousness.
Those open loops that just like eat you alive.
You just need to make one decision. Even if it's the wrong decision, just make one decision. And I promise you that anxiety is going to feel so much better.
I know. I was reading somebody's post the other day about how she was talking about how like making fast decisions can literally eliminate so much stress in your life. And I've been really trying to think about that in other ways and how many things that applies to, like even like figuring out like what you want for lunch. Like stop thinking about it for too long and literally just like go and do it.
Yes.
Because I know for myself, like I've definitely had moments in the past where I've been like, should I go eat now or should I keep going with like this work task or should I like do it later?
And then you sit on it for 2
and then
hours.
30 minutes have passed and I've done nothing. And it's like, okay, if I just made a fast decision 30 minutes ago, like all
even
these
if it would have
problems
been like, oh, it would have been
been
better to
solved.
do this, then you're
Exactly.
like, next time I know to make that decision in a different way. But it truly is just making a decision, because truly fast decisions and the ability to make fast decisions, even if they're high pressure decisions, is such a skill that is so underrated.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because think about, again, just how many people are in their heads on a day-to-day basis and like are just staying in there. And I get it. Like, when people are like,
hard.
it's all in your head, and you're like, I'm in my head. Like, I get that. Like, I'm also in my own head. But truly, like, taking action allows you to stay in the presence instead of getting like sucked back into your head.
Oh yeah, because it also like it brings you back to reality, like you said. Like you're not like thinking about all these hypotheticals. Because again, when we talk about hypotheticals, then you start thinking about the worst case scenario, and then you spiral, and then we're all back at the beginning. So that's on growth and making fast decisions
That's
and
on
being
growth.
able to reflect on a month ago and being in a better place. And I honestly feel like there's like something in the air right now. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, like
because
Gatorade happening.
I literally Googled. I Googled this morning. I said, what is the opposite of Mercury in retrograde? Because there has to be something. Because whatever's going on this week
You're
is
just like,
the
what
opposite.
is the moon doing right
No,
now?
literally, I texted Zach and I was like, something astrological is happening that I don't understand, because too many things are going right now.
You're like, I need to text my astrology girl.
No, literally. It's actually so funny. I was listening to a podcast recently about some people who got their birth charts read, and I was like, wow, this is like a whole new world out here.
I know. People be like, what time were you born? I was like, I've been asking my mom this for 3 years, and she doesn't, like, she's like, I'll find your birth certificate. And then I'm like, I don't know what time I was born. Like,
so
she's
funny.
always like, it was right around when the World Series was starting. And I'm like, great, let me take that to my astrology.
Specific. It's so funny. I actually have, my parents are full-blown hippies. They will fully agree with me if they hear me say that. But I literally have a birth chart that is like in a bound book from like with my birth time and like all of the stars and like all of everything. And I actually opened it up recently because I learned there was like something where like if your fifth house is empty, it like signifies something. So I was like frantically reading my birth chart, and I actually texted Mia and I was like, Mia, like what's in your birth chart? And then Mia and I were nerding out about our birth charts.
I know. Whenever something's, I literally be able to send it a message and she'll just be like, by the way, the moon is doing this. And I'm like, thanks for the update.
You said phone an astrologer friend? Yeah, I phoned Mia.
Yeah, literally. That's me. I'm
Yeah.
just like, what's going on?
Help.
Give me the 411.
I know. I mean, we all need an astrology girl.
Yeah.
It's okay if we have the same one.
Yes. We'll just call her up.
She accepts this.
Yes, she does.
She likes this title.
does. What would you say is a habit that you have in place right now that you absolutely love?
My morning walks with my dogs. I love my morning walks with my dogs. I love that time. I can't say enough about it. I mean, I've been talking a lot about this on social media recently about like, there's a lot of days when I do not want to go. Like I get up in the morning and I'm like, there's 80,000 other things I would do instead. Like I could go to work. Would much rather sit on my couch and drink a coffee, God knows. But I have to walk my dogs because I know that I love that time with them. I truly do. Like looking down at them
It
and
makes
watching
them so happy.
It does. Like their little ears are bouncing around. Like they get
Or their
so
tails are
excited. I know.
pushed.
I literally put my socks on and they both bolt over to me and they're like, it's time. And it's so nice. Like to start your day, you start your day with a win. Like for me, it's like I check that box. I have walking, like it is on my to-do list. Like I have it recurring on my to-do list. Like just because for myself, like checking off that box, even though it feels stupid, like it's something that I do every single day.
I'm such a box
Like
checker.
I love checking boxes. I literally will check things off in like 18 different places.
Yeah.
Like just I have like a virtual
like, I
thing.
get a
I have
high.
a hand one. Yeah, exactly. I have my Notion. All my clients are organized on my Notion spreadsheet, and then I also write it by hand because I'm a psychopath. But anyway, I love to check that off, and it's just so nice to start your day with a win. And like, you know, I'm trying to aim for 10,000 steps, whatever, and it's like half my step goal is done. I have absolutely no excuse to not hit it the rest of the day. Like there's no reason not to.
It's the best high. Like literally,
is.
I almost always start the day with like 4,000 to 5,000 steps.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'm stuck behind my desk. So it might get to like 7 p.m. and it's like, you have 5,010 steps. Because I'll be like, oh, it's so good this morning. My steps are going to be in such a good spot. And it's like, oh, you've literally sat at your desk.
And then I haven't moved an inch.
But then it's like, oh, it's so much easier to get the rest of them if that does happen. Otherwise, it's like you're at 1,000 steps at the end of the day.
There's nothing worse than when you finish the end of your workday. You finish your work. You may have trained. Maybe you didn't train that day. Who knows? But like, you've already finished off like all of your stuff, and you're like, I just want to like turn my brain off and relax. And like, then you look down at your watch and like, Oh my God, I have to find a way to get 8,000 steps.
Yeah.
Like, how am I
And
gonna
it's like
do
then that kind
feels
of
so
like
bad.
revs you up and
Yeah.
then you do the steps and then you're kind of like in a weird spot of you're like, I'm tired,
Yeah.
but I'm revved a little bit
But
because
now I need
just
to wind
like,
down,
yeah.
but now it's also late.
And then it's also if you finish work and you need to get steps, I know what I run into is I'm like, well, I need to eat dinner first because if I go and get the steps first and then I'm eating dinner way too late. So then you're like, I need to hurry up and make dinner and then I need to get these steps.
And what if football is starting soon?
What if football is on? Oh my gosh. Funny you mentioned that because there was this girl that made like a reel of being like, this is for the girls, like for the husbands that love football. Here's like how you're going to handle football season. And she was West Coast. So she was like, the game starts at 5:15. I was like, a bitch can wish.
Wow,
she wishes.
what a life.
Yeah, I know. When we went to Arizona during football season, we were literally like watching football at like 8 a.m. And I was like,
we talk about
9
that
a.m.
every week where we're like, I just want to wake up and drink coffee.
love EST except for football season. And then I'm like, why the F are we at EST?
Anytime I'm out like west for football season, I'm like, I am the happiest person.
Yeah, because then football ends at like 8 p.m.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I could go to bed.
Or I'm drinking coffee while I watch a football game. And this is, and as someone who doesn't drink alcohol really anymore, like I would much rather drink a coffee.
When we were literally, we were in Arizona for a work conference and it was like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday thing. And we went Friday and Saturday. And then on Sunday, we were like, let's ditch. And we ditched it and we just sat and watched football because it started at 9 a.m.
Like,
and we
not?
literally like sat there, like drank coffee, ate breakfast. And I was like, this is the life.
Literally the life.
But literally Alex and I during football season switch our schedules because we know we're going to be up late. So we have some rules. So the first rule is, I know. The first rule is that we cannot stay up for every night game. We can only stay up for the night game if it is the Packers game. Otherwise at halftime, we have to go up to our bed. We can turn it on upstairs, but we cannot because we would stay up till because East Coast, the games finish at like freaking midnight.
It's awful.
And then it's horrible because you're like, I was supposed to be up at 5 a.m., but now I can't set my alarm for 5 a.m. because I'm not going to be that mean to myself. But if I get up at 7, now like that's half my day is gone. Half my day. And so we literally shift our schedule of like we do start later and like we go later during football season because like we know we want to watch football, but it's like a whole thing of like, okay, we can't watch the night games unless it's this and we do this, but like we want to watch all the games, so it's difficult, but we have all these different like rules in place of how we can go through it. And since Alex does like gamble on stuff, then he's had to make rules of like, because if he gambles, he has to watch the game. Like he can't gamble and not watch the game. And so he's had to be like,
sacrifices.
Okay, yeah, I know, sacrifices. He's like, I can only gamble on the 1 o'clock game because if I gamble at the 4 o'clock game, I'm going to be like too revved up and then staying up too late tonight and then this. And he's like, and since we have like 3 fantasy leagues that we're in, then I'm like watching all the like it's literally, have you seen the memes or like reels where it's like men when they say they can't multitask or they can't organize anything and then it's like showing men in like their fantasy football league or like watching all 6 screens and I'm like, yeah, that'll do it.
I relate, honestly.
Yeah, but we're excited for football
I love that,
season.
honestly. I feel I support that. And honestly, like the freaking night games, like ever since the Bills got good, like every other week it's a night game.
Yeah.
And it's real unpleasant.
That's the thing that
and I'm
stinks
sad.
so much about a team being good is
Like,
you
it's
normally
so
have
annoying.
the primetime games. I was so excited because when the schedule came out last year, not this current year, last year for the Packers, we had a ton of like 1 and 4 p.m. games. And I was like, this is lit. And Alex was like, that's so disrespectful. We deserve these games. I was like, listen, I know that like you're supposed to be the better team if you get the 8 p.m. But I was like, I am so happy that we have so many 1 and 4 p.m. games. Like you have no freaking idea because I want to go to sleep at a good time.
There was a chunk of the season last season when I think it was like all of the 1 p.m. games were over and there was like an 8-week stretch where there was like not a single 1 p.m. game. And I was like, this is terrible.
I know.
Why do I like
why
this?
do
I
they
don't want
do
this.
it? I don't understand. I understand because they're like prime time, whatever. But at the same time, when they end up having like 2 games on at 1 p.m. and then they have like 6 on at 4. I was like, why didn't we split this up?
I'll never understand. I do listen to a podcast where they talk about the scheduling process every year. I'm not going to lie. It's like 2 hours long.
I can't imagine.
Really interesting though.
Oh no,
so
I would find it very interesting. Trust me. But I
There's
can
a whole
only,
method.
Can you imagine having to like contact all the stadiums and find out the different events that were going on and then like the different schedules and then the flights to the different things for the teams and everything?
You know the meme from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Charlie's like got the wall with the string? Like that's how I imagine the schedule makers every year. They're like, this
Did you know for the MLB season, it was just recently, like in the past few years, that they switched over to a different system. But before, it was a husband and wife who like did it by hand. And like for MLB season, like there's a
It's like
bajillion
160,
games,
like 160 games,
and they
something
like
like
did it by hand. And I was like, hats off to you.
That like makes my wrist hurt just thinking about it. Like I get frustrated like editing a freaking Instagram post for an hour and a half, let alone like trying to create
So real.
like 70 teams schedules and like making them all work.
Oh my gosh.
That's like the worst game of Tetris ever.
Literally, I can't imagine. But speaking of habits, what's a habit that you have wanted to implement but you haven't yet?
Oh man. I like really need to not bring my phone into my bedroom.
Fair.
There's just like something like just something comfort. Like my other problem is like I have a routine of I get in bed and I pre-track my food for the next day. Like it's like a really weird routine. I don't know how I got into that routine, but like I'm setting myself up for success for the next day, so it's fine. And also pre-track your macros. You won't miss your macros. But it like then I end up like tapping a notification, getting sucked into something, and I really just need to like not do that. Like I need to like do my like pre-track my day earlier or something like that.
Or if you do it in the evening, I know that there's like time limits on like the apps because they're way too easy to click out of. Alex uses an app called Opal, and it's like really hard to tap out of. Like it's very difficult to tap out of it. And he has it that like certain apps aren't accessible at certain times. And so you can make it of like, you can access MyFitnessPal at any time of the day, but like for any other app, it's like, never mind, you can't.
That's true. I've actually heard of Opal, and I've looked into it, and I've not actually done anything with it. I have a friend who has a brick. Have you heard of that?
The one that like hooks onto your
I've almost pulled the trigger on that a few times. I haven't actually done it, but I have two friends who use it and they swear by it. So I'm really curious how like the brick and Opal are different.
You'll have to ask Alex more about the Opal so he can like even show you. But he also has an app on his computer called Rise, and it's like tracks how you're like using your time and stuff. And so if he's doing check-ins and stuff, sometimes obviously you can get sidetracked because maybe he might pull up YouTube to link a video, or like, and then he like sees like a video about like a football update, and then he gets sucked into that. And so it brings down, and it's like, is this like pertinent to your work? And it's like a live reminder in front of you. And you have to say like yes or no. And it can tell you how many times you like clicked off of your work and all of that.
I have something that's kind of like that. It like, it's like a Pomodoro timer though. And it like kind of blocks the apps, or it kind of blocks websites. But the problem is it like only blocks like www.instagram.com. So if you do instagram.com/cmjones.fit, like that's not the same thing.
That's the worst when you like learn how to hack this.
Yeah, and I wasn't even trying, but I was trying to pull up a video for a client, like literally to link them something. And then I like clicked something else and I was like, damn it. Now I'm down a rabbit hole that I didn't mean to go down. But it does tell me how many times I get distracted, and I'm really like, I'm really trying to drive that in. I've definitely gotten better. I am getting better. So it does work. It's just,
it like shames you.
It's like, this is a distraction.
Alex for Opal, it tells him like how many times of like pickups he has for his phone. And I'm like, I don't need it.
I accidentally looked at that on my phone one time and I was like, I wish I didn't.
I wish I did. Yeah.
I think I'm not going to do that again.
I think that like really hurt my feelings.
I was like, oh, okay. And I have my screen time, I've gotten it down like consistently under like 3 hours a week for the last.
That's awesome.
I feel good about that. I feel very good about that. But still, my pickups, I'm like,
oh my gosh. So like screen time.
I don't use TikTok, so I think that helps.
Yeah, that does. Screen time. It definitely does.
I know. That's why I don't use
That's why I didn't get it for so long. And then I got into the books, and then I'm like,
books, man.
It's because like Instagram has been work for me for so long. Totally. Like if I tried to make a bookstagram instead of a book talk, like I would just be in this place of like Instagram
so you'd accidentally
is
post
for
on the
work.
wrong account.
Probably. And so and I also like didn't want to think of another username. Like that sounds really
Sue
stupid.
Gaines and Sue Chains are like the two goated usernames. Sorry if I
they really are.
Blasted you on both.
No, I love them both.
I love them too.
So it's just like I just didn't want to deal with it, and it just felt like easier to like be on a different platform. But it definitely like is much easier to like click onto whatever. But I've gotten really good of like I mainly just like rewatch my own videos. I don't watch other people's stuff.
Why do we do? Why, I need to know like why humans do that, because like I will rewatch my own stories and I'm like, why am I doing this?
Because I'm like, this was cool. I often like, especially like, let's say someone follows me for the first time, I'll like go to my feed and like look through it and be like, if I was just coming to my page for the first time, like what would I think? And I do that like a little self audit, like, but it's also like you should want to like watch your own stuff that it's good. So I'm very pro that. But for I was talking about something with Instagram and apps
TikTok and
picking
content.
things up. Oh, for the timing. I don't always pay attention to like what my screen time says because I think that you should be able to click things or like make things not included in your screen time. And let me explain. Sometimes it'll be like, you had 10 hours of screen time. I'm like, when? And then it'll be like, first, either sometimes I just leave my phone open by accident and it'll be like, you were on Instagram for 8 hours. And I was like, I obviously wasn't. I wasn't touching anything.
Yeah.
Why weren't you smart enough to realize I wasn't actually on Instagram? But the other thing is sometimes I'll be on maps.
Yep.
And
That
it'll
was
be
what I was
like,
going to say.
you've been on your phone for all these hours. And I was like, 3 of those I was on a map.
Literally.
Like that doesn't count.
It's the worst when you're on a road trip and like I literally haven't touched my phone in 8 hours and I pick up my phone and it's like 8 hours of screen time because like it was on like my Apple CarPlay and I'm like, I didn't touch it. Don't yell at me.
I don't think that the map should be included.
Totally agree.
I don't think text messages should be included.
Phone calls? No.
Yeah, the phone calls should not be included.
Sometimes it grays it out because I'll like literally talk to my dad for like 45 minutes sometimes or not. It'll be ridiculous. But sometimes it'll gray out the screen time. Sometimes it doesn't. And I'm like,
and then also if it says Spotify, then that really irritates me because I'm like, I was listening to music, but I was working. Like I wasn't just like on my phone. So I think phone time, it's good to look at it because some people are very like oblivious to how much they're on their phone or how many pickups they have. But also I think that it's a rigged system.
I agree.
So that's my.
I concur. I also don't have any of my devices attached to it. So like if it's at first it was like recording my like computer, my iPad and my phone. And I was like, turn off, turn off.
Rude.
I don't need to see that.
Oh my gosh.
Are you sick and tired of your glutes not growing? Turning around in the mirror and seeing a board for a booty. I've been coaching for nearly a decade, helping thousands of women reach their goals. The most common goal? Grow my glutes. Women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and even 60s able to grow their glutes with the guidance of my training programs. And for all this time, I've kept my best glute growth secrets only for my one-on-one clients. And that changes today. We just released our 12-week glute growth program in the PD training app. It is a 4-day program with exercise and volume adjustments every 3 weeks. You can easily access the program through our app and track every single workout. Each exercise will have a detailed video teaching you exactly how to perform each and every movement. And guess what? I am no longer gatekeeping. I'm sharing every single one of my best glute growth secrets inside this program because you are awesome and I want you to have this program. I'm going to give you $25 off, making it a fraction of what you spent at Starbucks this past month. Use code POD. The link to purchase will be in the description. Now let's get back to the show.
What would you say that's something that people assume about you because you lift or you're fit, but that couldn't be further from the truth?
I feel like there could be a million of these as well. I feel like there's just like a misconception about people who lift that like they are like always trying to get leaner and like they're always trying to like chase, you know, being smaller. And I mean, anyone who knows me knows that that's just the exact opposite of what I do.
That's just fundamentally untrue.
Like, I cannot think of something that like describes me less. But I think that like somebody, like they meet you and they figure out like, oh, you lift, you work out. They like especially assume like, oh, women, like you're just trying to like get smaller or whatever. And I think that that's like kind of changing, but like not really. And I think that that's a big one. I also think that there is I don't know if this is necessarily like a misconception, but like, I don't know, like I love a good baked good.
No, like people like assume you like it's bad for you or like those are off limits. Like whenever I'm like eating like a dessert or something, people are like, are you allowed to have that? Or like, oh, if I ate that, I'd have to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, I eat it every day.
Exactly. Like
I love a sweet treat.
I like love this little coffee place near me that I'll pop into every time. And it's like, I'm gonna make a room for an oatmeal cream pie in my macros for the day. And like, we're not even gonna think twice about that because that's just what
that
we
was
like
a necessity.
Yeah. Like I pre-checked it. Like it was part of my day. It was part of the plan.
Yes.
Like that is just a fundamental part of who I am. And it's so funny, like around this time of year in particular, like sometimes like every now and then like a client will be like, you know, hey, could we go through a dieting phase? Or we'll like kind of talk about going through a dieting phase. And it's like, okay, well, hey, like thinking about like from a timeline perspective, like, is this actually going to be good based on like, you know, what you've got going on right now? Are there like family things that you want to sacrifice? And I was chatting with a client about that. And I was like, there's something that I would never diet through the fall because I need apple cider donuts. Like I need air.
Those hit
like
so hard.
I would never want to be in a dieting phase in the fall where I have to be mindful of my apple cider donut consumption. Like I'm obviously not going to eat 12 a day, but like if I want an apple cider donut, I
I'm
want an
gonna
apple
eat
cider
an apple cider donut.
and I don't have legitimately not one single qualm about these things. Like I don't know, like me probably 10 years ago would probably like never believe this. But again, this is kind of like going back to, you know, relationship with food, literally never been in a better place. Like, you know, even a couple years ago, not maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, like even like trying to track something like that, like would have been like really like hard for me for X or Y reason. But through like, I mean, kind of exposure therapy in some ways, like being able to really like get that practice, it's just so helpful. And it just really neutralized so many of those things for me and really just made like I mean, yes, not all calories are necessarily created equal, but it's through the lens of like, if you're fueling yourself well, 95% of the time, eat the damn baked good. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
Especially when it's a conversation of like, oftentimes people are like, oh, I can't have that. And like, that is literally making your relationship with food so much worse. And it's like,
I can have every single food as part of a healthy diet.
Absolutely. I can eat anything I want at any single time of day, but I don't because like, I know what makes me feel best at the end of the day. And that's so funny. Like I very vividly remember like a year before, way before you and I even started working together, like reading content, people talking about like, oh, I just want to eat in the way that like feels good for me and like all this. And I never understood that until I got like further into it. And now like I truly understand that. And like a baked good is 1000% part of what makes me feel good. You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
Not for every single meal and not for every single meal of every single day, but like most days.
Most days. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, and like I think that people think that people who are fit and into fitness and that sort of thing, like they don't eat that sort of stuff,
or they don't like that stuff, and it's like that's not true.
That's literally not true. Like,
that's literally
so far from the truth. Of course, it's not. Again, like it's never going to be 80% of my diet because I don't want it to be.
Yeah,
but like I am never going to turn like.
And it makes it so much more enjoyable when you do eat it because you are eating things that made you feel good. And then you can eat this without it feeling like, oh, this is another thing. This is keeping me further from my goals. This makes me feel like shit because I've had no protein today and X, Y, and Z. It's like, oh, this is nice. This is lovely. This is tasty. This is delicious.
And then you eat like a cookie and like you have a piece of protein with it or something. Like maybe because you wanted to, maybe because of just how the meal worked out. And you also like you have that experience of like, oh, this actually sat really well in my stomach because I had a balanced meal or whatever.
That's always like my favorite when clients are in a place of like, oh, I had the pizza, but I added this to it and it ended up like I didn't have a stomach ache. I felt so good and I could still have the pizza. And I'm like, yes, you could still have the pizza.
I literally got a check-in from my client yesterday who had her bridal shower and she felt so amazing and so confident. And she was like, I ate pizza and I wore a bathing suit and I felt so good. But I also had some grilled chicken from lunch because I knew that I was going to need some protein. And she didn't track. And she said she had the best day ever. And like, this is where the magic happens. Like, this is where, like, that's truly where you want to go with this stuff. Like that's what life should be about in my eyes. Like that's where I want everybody to get to, where you can have a piece of pizza, you can have an apple cider donut or whatever. And yes, it's not going to be your entire day, but it's going to be part of your day and you don't have to think about it. Like you're still going to be able to be present with your, your fiance and all of your family while you're enjoying your bridal shower or whatever. Like that should be how that experience is. And being able to see that like for myself and then through clients, like it's just, that is it.
It is it.
Yeah.
And it's also like within like as far as what someone might assume, like whenever I say no to something, I think people assume that I'm either restricting myself or again, I can't have it. And I'm like, I'm saying no because I don't want it. Like it's not because
it's not
I
a punishment.
can't. It's not a punishment. It's not like I'm sitting there being like, oh, I can't believe she's eating that cookie in front of me and I wish I could eat that. But like it doesn't work for me. It's like I've literally made the decision that I did not want it. It had nothing to do if I was able to, I literally just did not want it at that time. Doesn't mean that I've sworn off cookies. Just in that moment, I did not want the cookie. And I think people can't conceptualize that. It's either all in, you eat a cookie whenever it's in front of you, or like you never eat cookies because you're healthy.
I mean, I honestly, I have such vivid memories of experiencing moments like that myself, where like I remember I was in college and I lived with I lived at a house of 5 other girls and like there would be foods around and people would be like, oh, like I don't want that. And I'd be like,
what do you mean?
What do you mean you don't want the cupcake? Like,
I always want the cupcake.
Cupcakes. Yeah. Like, and it didn't clock in my brain whatsoever.
It's not clocking you. You're not getting it.
You're not getting it. But eventually, I mean, I literally just wasn't eating enough calories and I was starving myself and I just wasn't, like, of course my brain was just fixated on all the food because I wasn't well-fueled and I wasn't taking care of myself. And when you get to a place where you are well-fueled and you are taking care of yourself and your body is happy, like you don't want to, you can actively, I don't want that because that's not what's going to make me feel good in this moment. Not because you're punishing yourself or not because you're not allowed. If I wanted it, I would eat it.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, that
If I
grocery
wanted
store
to, I
cupcake.
would.
Right, exactly. Like that grocery store cupcake ain't shit.
Yeah. No, literally. Because it's like, it truly is a budget of like, is this worth it to me? And sometimes I'm like,
oatmeal cream pie, coffee shop, worth it.
Yeah,
worth grocery store cupcake, not worth it.
Not worth it. Like it's literally
sometimes
just,
it is, but sometimes it's
sometimes you want it and that's cool and dandy. But like sometimes you just don't. And that's okay. And I think that's like one of the hardest concepts for people to really conceptualize.
Yeah.
And it's so hard because like I want to show other people of like what it looks like to like enjoy food, enjoy life and all of that. And so sometimes when I say no to those, it's like I'm making the right decision for me, but I hate the misconception that comes with it. And it's kind of like, have you seen the ones that be like, well, I'm never getting invited to brunch again, but at least they know the difference between X and Z. I'm like, that's what I'm like, okay, I don't want to rant on this thing and like make people uncomfortable. But at the same time, I want them to realize like, it's not a health thing that I'm not eating this. Like that's also something with like dairy or alcohol or like carbonation. I feel like whenever I say no to it, people think it's like a health thing. Like, and people have said that to me before. Of like, I was at like a friend's birthday dinner recently and they're like, oh, are you not drinking alcohol because it's like a health thing? Or are you not drinking that? Or are you not having this because it's like a health thing? And I was like, no, it actually is going to like blow up my stomach and I'm going to feel like ass. So like, it's really for your guys' benefit too. Like I'm looking out for you guys, but I'm like, no, it's not a health thing. It's I don't want to thing. Like, and I think people are so uncomfortable with like boundaries and someone being so confident in what they want because people are so used to just doing what everyone else does that it can feel uncomfortable to be like,
and it can feel like an attack almost. It's like they'll feel like you're like judging them or something like that. And there's literally none of that literally ever.
I literally don't care. That's the other thing.
I genuinely like, if you want to do that, like,
are
that's
like,
so fine.
They're like, don't look at me. I'm eating the cookie. Don't judge me. I'm like, I could give a fuck less what you're doing. Like, unless you pay me, I don't care what you're doing.
Right.
Like, I'm not judging your food. I'm not paying attention. Like, your business is your own business. Like, unless you're paying me to care about what you're eating, like, and not in a way of, like, it just is in that way of like, it's not my business.
No.
Like, I don't care.
It's not. It literally is not my business. Unless you like literally like throw it on me and are like asking me about it. In which case, then if you ask, I will be honest with you.
I'll give you my opinion.
I mean, I won't get invited back to brunch, but it's okay.
But it's okay. I wanted to stay home anyway.
Yeah, it's fine. We made friends.
Oh my gosh. Well, being able to talk about, just wrap this up here. Finish this sentence for me. Maturing on your fitness journey means ...
Understanding that saving your calories for the end of the day is making it harder for you to reach your goals. Snaps. Mostly spoken from experience, but it's fine.
Isn't it almost always spoken from experience?
I know, it's so annoying, but it's okay.
But it's good.
That's how we grow. That's how we grow.
You had to fail. You had to learn. You had to do it the wrong way.
We had to feel bad to then feel good later. You have to feel really, really, really terrible to then know what it's like to feel good. Like I think about in the context of like drinking alcohol, like when I was bartending and like working really late and like drinking like all the time, like I think back and I'm like, oh yeah, like my like metrics on like my data or whatever like wasn't that bad. And it's like, but like I didn't know how bad I felt.
Yeah.
And now you like
it's
go
your
back.
Normal.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you've literally normalized it. And that's something that's also like a really fun light bulb moment is when clients start to realize they can feel better and they're like, I didn't realize how bad I actually felt. And it's like, yeah, because you normalize it. And that's the thing of a lot of people be like, I'm not in that much pain. And it's like, because you don't know how good it can get.
Exactly.
You don't know how good you can feel. And that's something that I know we've like talked about as well. But like when it comes to aging and people are like, oh, when you get older, you're understand or this. I'm like, I've felt better each year of my life. Like I truly feel like I'm going to be like Tom Brady and just getting better as I age. Like I'm going to be 40, 50 and be like, I feel incredible. And it's so funny because again, people have normalized and made it their normal of like, oh, I'm supposed to feel this bad. It's normal to have headaches all the time. It's normal to not have energy. That has been my normal. Everyone I'm around complains about the same shit. So like, I shouldn't try and change anything. And it's like, you do realize you can feel a whole hell of a lot better.
Oh my God, it's so true. And I feel so fortunate, like, especially with the age of social media, like I feel I'm 28, I'll be 29 in a few months, and I feel very fortunate to have like, I don't want to say like older women, but like women who are in their 40s. I mean, again, like I don't consider that old by any means, but like they have more years on them than I do. And like, I feel so fortunate to be able to look at those people and see that they are in amazing shape. They feel so good. They are freaking crushing, competing or fitness goals or high rocks or whatever it is. And like, it's not that people in my life like didn't necessarily have that example, because my family has always been very active and that sort of thing. And I feel very fortunate in that sense, but it just really wasn't highlighted in that sense. So I don't like, as I've gotten, older, quote unquote, again, I don't like, I always feel weird saying that when I'm like, 28 or I'm like, oh, I'm getting older, but like, I'm not 22 anymore.
You're literally older than you were.
You know what I mean? So I feel really just like, it's cool to be able to see that and like be able to kind of have that perception of things change. Like, I'm sure there's difficult things with every stage of life, of course, but being able to have that positive example, I think is really, really important. And I'm really grateful for social media in that way for a lot of reasons, because, it's just, you don't necessarily always see that in your everyday life, especially like when you're in this age bracket. You often don't, in any age bracket, you often, just naturally kind of tend towards people who are in a similar age bracket as yours. So you don't necessarily always see, all those other people and that sort of thing besides, like your parents, friends, or, this, that, or the other person. It's not as easy to make those connections and being able to see those connections. And even like, even like clients of mine who are, a couple years older than me, like I see how like jacked and hot and strong and like fast and like athletic they are. And I'm like, that's so cool. Like, I can't wait to like be like in that position and like have that experience too. Not that I'm like wishing time away or anything like that. Not at all. But it's just like you said, like
it's exciting.
Yes,
like it
it's
makes
a good
it
example.
exciting instead of being like, oh, this is what's waiting for me. Because it truly is like you're talking about of like your environment determines so much. And so social media, like, and just in general comparison. I know oftentimes people say like comparison is the thief of joy. I don't believe that at all. I think that judging yourself when you compare yourself to others is the thief of joy. But you can use comparison as such a positive metric to be like, they're doing this and I can accomplish it because they're doing it. Or I'm using this as motivation. I'm using this to excel myself. But like when it comes to environment, if you're always around people that like have normalized how they feel, and that's something I know both of us have gone through changes within friendship groups and within our environment where it's like you have to sometimes shed those things and it can be really difficult. I'm not minimizing how hard it is to lose friends or to like change your identity, so to speak, but it's also at like, I'm so glad that I did. Like, I'm so glad that I went through that to then get to the point where like my life is my life and I'm doing things that I love and I'm like striving for goals that are exciting for me instead of being so trapped in like a small-minded aspect of like, this is all that there is. This is how I'm supposed to feel. This is how I'm supposed to complain about things. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that way. Like it doesn't. And so sometimes it can be where people are kind of either like, you're so lucky you feel this way about things or you're this. And it's like, you can view it that way if you'd like. That's obviously where your fixed mindset is at, that like you can't have certain things, but it's like allow yourself to know that you can have things. Yeah. Things can be better.
Absolutely.
Like what if it get like Mia always says, like it gets to be good. Like it gets to be good. Yeah. And so often we default to being like, oh, this is my normal. This is what I can expect. And it's like, like I just want to grab someone and shake them where I'm like, no, it could be so much better.
It's so true. I keep just coming back to like random like old stories, but I feel really fortunate that my high school actually, I went to an all-girls high school and every year they like picked a word, like word of the year. And my last year, the word was resilience. And we really like the word yet was really like our word. And the concept was really a lot about like, I can't do X or Y thing yet. And I think that that really kind of bleeds back into what we're saying here about like, people think like, oh, I can't have that. And it's like, you can't have that yet because you haven't done the work. You haven't flexed
you haven't done the work.
Yeah, you haven't done that to be able to have that yet. And I mean, honestly, like I've even kind of had some of those moments in the last couple of like months even where like certain things like are making more sense to me than they have in the past. And it's like, oh, like I couldn't have that at that time because I mean, I wasn't ready for it and I wasn't like looking for it. And now as I've got, gotten more clear on, what's important to me, what I value, what I need in my life, like it's a lot easier to kind of like have these things kind of come together. And, yes, I couldn't have that at the time, but like through a growth mindset and through like continued application, like those things have just continued to like be in front of me. And I don't know. I feel like that's just kind of a good combination. Even like, even like our, like 5 years with PD, like being, here right now. And like, I think it would even be interesting to like put like a clip overlay a clip of like my very first like coach intro episode, like with something like this. And just like to see like how, you
might have been wearing the same flannel.
I honestly probably was. I'm not even gonna lie. I was walking out of my house. I'm not gonna like, I was walking out of my house and I was like, I feel like I
Maybe
should grab
all
a different
3
flannel.
episodes.
I'm dead ass.
the
I
same
literally
flannel.
almost grabbed a different one, and then I almost recorded an Instagram story of like, I'm going to record a PD podcast, and I think I've worn the same flannel for every
I'll
single
put over
story.
some clips. I'll send it to you.
I need like, there needs to be like a photo of like, here's one, and then here's one, and then here's one. Charlotte's all wearing the same flannel. My grandpa's flannels. He passed away. I acquired all of them, and I wear them all the time.
No,
They're the best.
It's a high quality flannel.
It's, Dickies flannel. I mean, I'm sure this shirt is probably like as old as I am, if not older.
But I mean, I love it. I would wear it all the time if I had it.
Some holes of love.
All well-loved items do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's great. It's cozy. And I mean, honestly, like the fact that I can even wear a flannel today, we're happy about that.
Yes.
So summer's almost over.
Yes, which I get so excited because it's football season.
Yeah.
And I just love, it was funny. I was actually on a call with Nathan, who just joined the team, and we were doing a Zoom, and it's like, where are you located again? Is it cold there? Because I was wearing a sweatshirt, and I was like, it's like 95 degrees outside today, actually, but like inside I keep it cool because like I love wearing sweatshirts. Like sweatshirts are like my go-to.
That's why I like my morning walks. 'Cause it's like I couldn't really bundle up this summer because it was 98% humidity at 6:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
But it's fine. This morning I got to wear a sweatshirt and it was great.
It was great. It's a
We
great
celebrated that.
feeling.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us today. Is there anything else you want to shout out before we leave? You might not have anything, but that's
I
fine.
don't think I have anything right now.
All right.
but-
Well, go follow
Actually,
Charlotte.
no. I'm going to start my build phase in September.
So follow along on IG.
If you're interested in build updates. And if you want to learn more about my building phase, just because we did talk about it, I did a whole series of posts about it, like every other week, highlighting what I was doing from a caloric standpoint, what I was doing from a training standpoint, what I was doing, like really in detail. There's a lot of graphs, there's a lot of photos, there's a lot of information there. So if you want to learn more about like any of that, I would highly recommend going to look at those posts, and you can always message me if you want to like ask anything about that, because I'm an open book and I honestly loved sharing about that. And I got a lot of really great like questions and stuff throughout that process. So if you see any of those posts and you want to talk more about it, please let me know. And especially if you have any interest about like building phase for the fall, I'm your girl.
Yes, she is your girl. We'll make sure we link like one of the first building posts down below, so then you can like kind of go through and see. But she has like very obvious updates, so you can go ahead and like
They're very
stalk
clear.
her.
They all look the same, so you're able to see.
You can like stalk her Instagram and find out all about that. But we'll have our other podcast episodes and everything else linked down below. But thank you so much for joining us, Charlotte, and we'll catch you in the next one.